Operation Midway blitz is now underway here in Illinois.
And according to DHS, the ICE crackdown targets undocumented immigrants with criminal records, but we're still working to confirm what the department has shared. NBC5's Jen Shaw joins us now live from the museum campus with the community response to this and details on the additional protests that are ahead. Jen?
What's up, Internet folks? My name is Ralph, and welcome to the channel. As you just saw, Trump's invasion of Chicago has begun. We're going to talk a little bit about it. Hit that subscribe button if you support completely independent voices on the internet. Let's get into it.
At least two of them scheduled for today, Evrod and Michelle, as people are making their voices heard as we are seeing federal immigration action here in Chicago kick up. It is something that President Trump hinted at over the weekend with that Truth Social post. Yesterday in Brighton Park, immigrant advocates said they'd already been alerted that a few people were taken by federal agents in that area. North suburban Evanston's mayor says he was alerted his area could also be a target of ICE operations. We have not seen widespread raids at this point. Those pushing back say they won't live in fear.
They wanted a wall? Look at this beautiful wall of defense. They wanted a wall? They wanted a wall? We're going to show them how we protect our own.
These people are absolutely ridiculous. First of all, for fighting to essentially just do away with American law, to ignore our borders as if, every country is just like this open place that you can walk into. If you go to Mexico illegally, if you stay in Mexico illegally as an illegal immigrant, granted, hardly anybody's doing that because who the fuck would want to move to Mexico? Or at least anybody with any common sense. If you go to Mexico though and remain there without permission from the government, they put you in prison. They don't just send you back home. They're not going to just send you back to the States, pick you up, hold you for a few days, couple weeks, however long it takes, and then repatriate you to the States. The punishment for illegally entering and staying in Mexico is prison time outright. But these people are sitting here acting as if America owes the illegal immigrants of the world all the generosity and peace. And on top of that, tax entitlements, all the money that they get, free housing, food, childcare, all that shit. Go to Mexico, see what you get. A cell. That's going to be it. And it ain't going to be like an American prison. So these people are just mind-bogglingly stupid. And this lady's like, look at this big, beautiful wall that we're using to protect our people. Why didn't you protect your people in Mexico? Your country is such a shit show that you moved here. And now you want us to let all the rest of that shit show come too. Get out of here. Get out of here. They're so mad calling this authoritarianism and tyranny and all this and that. What? Massive reductions in crime? That's what you're fighting against? Had the longest streak in DC in decades without a murder because of the National Guard. We don't want that in Chicago. God, why would we want that? These people are so ignorant. They moved here to escape violence, and now they're turning around and doing everything in their power to protect violent criminals and every other sort. It's ridiculous.
These bullet points have been circulating from the Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, reminding people to remain calm if they encounter an ICE agent. Also reminding people they have the right to deny entry without a valid warrant, the right to not speak, the right to ask for an attorney, and the right to not sign anything. Now, DHS has shared a few details about.
Isn't it crazy how Democrats are printing out pamphlets and handing them out to illegal immigrants to inform them of their rights when the federal government tries to, hold them accountable for violating our immigration law, for violating our borders, for entering our country illegally. The Democrats will do everything in their power to protect the rights of illegal immigrants. They're the same people that suspended rights during COVID or attempted, you know. They're the people that tried forcing vaccines into our arms. They're the people that tried telling us we couldn't leave our homes, that we couldn't work. I live in Illinois. I live under a Democratic government that surreptitiously passed an assault weapons ban in the middle of the night and is now limiting the Second Amendment right of born American citizens. In fact, will jail you for exercising your rights to the fullest extent. The Second Amendment, if you exercise that as it was truly intended, as it is written, and as has been ruled upon through Bruins by the Supreme Court, if you try to enjoy your Second Amendment rights to its fullest extent here in Illinois, you'll go to jail. It's the only state, I'm pretty sure, that requires a special identification card just to purchase a weapon. Do any of you require a special ID or license to speak? Do you need a special license or ID to not speak? How about one to have a lawyer? Do you need a special exemption in order to invoke your Fourth Amendment right? No, you don't. But here in Illinois, a feed license is required for you to practice your Second Amendment right. But they will at the same time go out of their way to protect the rights of illegal immigrants. The Democrats have abandoned the American people outright because they know the American people have finally seen through their bullshit. And we don't want to smell it no more. And the only hope they have left now is to hand out free goods and services to people that haven't yet seen how full of shit they are, i.e., illegal immigrants, in order to maintain a voter base, in order to maintain power. These are the real tyrants. They attempt to disarm the people and then flood the state with unvetted illegal immigrants, many of which are criminals. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of desperate people that just wanted to get away from all that criminality in South America that moved here, that did whatever they had to get here. And I feel for those people. I'm sorry that they have to go through that. But the fact of the matter is, it's their responsibility to set their own nation right. You know, we're not talking about, when we talk about Mexican refugees, when we talk about the vast majority of Latin American refugees, we're not talking about people that are fleeing oppressive governments. We're talking about people that are fleeing harsh economies and crime. It is them. It is the people of those nations, just as it is our responsibility here in America to set our ship right. It is their responsibility to set their ship right, not to abandon, flee, come here, and demand all the wealth and generosity of Americans. That very idea shows such a sense of entitlement that when my home is falling apart, when my nation is falling apart, I'll just leave. I'll just go north of the border or whatever way you travel to get here. And I know these silly Americans will just hand me thousands of dollars, free room and board. So, no, I'm not going to fight for my own country. I'm not going to do the work necessary to build my nation into a place I would like to live. It's not our responsibility. It's not the American taxpayers' responsibility. We owe no duty to these people. They owe a duty to themselves to fix their own countries. But Democrats tell them, no, just come here. Come here and we'll give you all that you could have ever wanted. Just vote for us.
This operation, saying it will target, quote, the worst of the worst undocumented individuals with criminal records. However, it is important to note NBC5 Investigates has not been able to confirm past arrests and criminal histories of these individuals and has reached out to the department for more information on that. This also comes as the Supreme Court ruled
If these are illegal immigrants, then that's irrelevant. You don't need any extenuating criminal, acts. They committed a violation of U.S. law by entering here without permission, without going through the proper channels. Why do the Democrats require something beyond
Just yesterday to lift restrictions on roving immigration stops in Los Angeles, which were temporarily halted by a federal judge. This is a big win for the Trump administration. Critics of this decision say it opens the door for profiling. Coming up, President Trump's message to Governor Pritzker amid concerns over the National Guard potentially coming to Chicago. We have not seen evidence of that yet.
Operation Midway blitz.
So the profiling thing, dude, if you look like a Mexican and you speak Spanish, there's a really good chance that you're Mexican. Whether you came here legally or not, that's the question. Um, but a large enough clip of Mexican Americans, legal immigrants, have voted for Trump that I think that a great many of them are going to understand that this is the process. This is what we're going to have to do to weed out the people that came here illegally. And I feel like as much pissing and moaning you hear from the Democrats on the internet and in the news about how the Mexican voter bloc that went for Trump in the last election is having all this buyer's remorse and da 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 da. I think that those people are smart enough to know that when they voted for Trump, while he was, um, you know, constantly speaking about the issue of illegal immigration, I'm pretty sure that most of them were very well aware of the fact that the way that we were going to have to go about, the only way to go about executing this mass deportation is going to be checking people that have strong indicators of foreign nationalism. And if they don't, if they're mad about it, if you look like you're from Mexico and you speak Spanish, I know that there's a large population of Americans in the Southwest that do. But if you happen to be one of those people and you also voted for Trump, and then you get mad when you get stopped by ICE and they're like, "Hey, we need to see your ID, we need to check your citizenship." If you're gonna throw a bitch fit about that, then I think you're kind of an idiot. Why? Like, how else did you think that this was gonna get taken care of? And I don't think that those people are idiots. I think that those people are probably the most reasonable of that demographic, and they probably understand that, yeah, they might have to show an ICE agent that they are in fact, legal citizens. Yeah, I went through the process. I got my green card. Cool, cool. But if you voted for Trump and then you get mad about that, well, what the fuck did you vote for? That's gonna be it though. I should probably stop talking before I start swearing anymore. Hit that like button, share again, subscribe. Everything helps, and let me know in the comments. Are you down for Trump's invasion of these cities? Do you think it's a good idea? Are you happy about it as I am, or are you one of these left leaning lunatics that thinks that we owe all the world everything and we deserve nothing?